Hello and welcome to episode 25 of Impacted. I am Bison and I'm joined today by the TNI team of Simply Steve and the legend that is the Joker. Hello boys, how you doing?
Good morning.
How are you, Steve? All right?
Yeah, we're good. Glad to be back with you both, and yeah, looking forward to getting into this week's Impact.
Yeah, definitely. And there's so much stuff to talk about, guys. Obviously, as everyone's probably aware, we had last week off. We just couldn't get the timing right. Different things was going on. I was crazy busy, and to be fair, I just needed a week off. I needed a rest. So we didn't go out last week. But we're ready to rock and roll. And we've got some serious stuff to talk about this week. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that. Just quickly, before we go any further, don't forget to hit subscribe, guys. Hit subscribe to the Total Nonstop Impact Network on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, wherever it is. Make sure that you guys subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. We do like that. Hit the like button. Give it a good tickle. Make sure that everybody gets to find out all about the Impacted show. And it goes out each and every Friday, although we have been talking about potentially moving dates, but don't forget to keep an eye out on that one. With Impact changing to Thursdays, which we'll talk about in a second, it does sort of kind of mess us up a little bit. So I think we might have to make a little bit of a change at our end too. But yeah, fantastic. So like I said, Total Nonstop Impacted, Total Nonstop Impact, Impacted comes to you via the network. Now, listen, guys, we've got so many talking points this week, haven't we? Some really, really interesting stuff, and I'm really looking forward to hearing everything that you guys think. And don't forget, I also want to know what all of you guys out there think too. So make sure you leave some comments for us below. We haven't actually got a listener question of the week this week. So no shout outs to any of our fabulous listeners. Don't forget, leave us a question. We'll give you a shout out. We'll answer your question live on air at the following Impacted. So don't forget to do that. We love interacting with you guys. Obviously, we are still going to go live every now and again as well. So keep an eye out for when we go live, and so you can join us in the chat. And again, we love interacting. When we do that, we can answer any of your little questions coming up or whatever. Give people shout out, whatever you want. We're happy to do that, and we look forward to speaking to you all. Now, listen, the first talking point. I want to hit this one first, as we already talked about the potential of moving our show, but Impacted moving to Thursday nights, guys. The natural home of TNA back in the day, and Impact previously as well. Your thoughts, guys? What are your thoughts on moving to Thursdays, Steve?
Yeah, like I say, I don't have an issue with it. I remember back when they had, I can't remember where they were placed at this point, but they had the option of moving to either Tuesday or Thursday, and they picked Tuesday nights. And I was like, I hope they go to Thursday, because to me, Thursday nights has always been where Impact sort of belongs. It's always been the home of Impact and TNA, Thursday nights, and now they've gone back to it for whatever reason. Some people are saying, oh, they've gone back for this reason, they've gone back for that reason. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter to me. To me, I just always feel like Thursday is where Impact / TNA, whatever you want to say, it's where it belongs.
What about you, Joe? What do you think?
Well, there's no place like home.
Yeah.
and when I started watching TNA, it was on the Thursday, so it'd be Friday night when we watch it here in the UK. So we'd be ducking and diving, trying to avoid the spoilers and stuff. But it's good to see that they're bringing it back home, and I think it's the best decision.
Yeah.
We've got a whole week of wrestling now. If you watch the company up north in AEW, so we've got Monday to Friday. We've got 5 days of wrestling. So wrestling's back on the market, as they've said on Facebook.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, something else.
Include the weekend of pay-per-views.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So something else I wanted to mention was that obviously Impact is now appears not to be on any TV channels in the UK. However, I mean, I've not watched it on the TV channel for a long time anyway. And I know that, like, I know you, Joe, for instance, I know that you stay up and do the watch along with the TNI crew on Twitch. You know, there's so many different ways that you can watch it. I mean, you've got your Twitch, and of course in the UK from 3 a.m. it's available on the Impact Plus app. So you know, you can watch it pretty much whenever you like. And the beauty of it on the Impact Plus app is it is completely free. You just need to have the app, you know, on your tablet or your on your phone, wherever you have it. You can cast it to the television. So if you want to watch it on TV, it's not a big deal. You can't moan that you don't want to watch it on your phone. At the end of the day, no, I get that. So cast it to your television. You know, that's what I do. So, you know, and also depending on when you can watch it on your laptop, you can watch it on your, you know, your PC, wherever you want to watch it. You know, it's available to you from 3 a.m. literally. As I think it's about an hour into the show, possibly, it sort of kind of kicks in the UK. So, you know, it's you don't need it to be on a TV channel. So what difference does it make? The only thing that gives Impact is ad revenue. So it gives them revenue. But from a supporter, from a fan point of view, what difference does it make? You know, if you're able to cast it to your TV, you're watching it on your TV, you're watching it in HD, and you're watching it ad free.
Yeah,
that's the
biggest prop for me, because let's be honest, TV advertising in the UK is one of the most bland, repetitive things you could ever watch.
Oh, boring. I don't want to see ads. You know, I love the fact that I can sit there for an hour and a half, because obviously once you take all the ads out, a 2-hour show becomes an hour and a half. I can sit there for an hour and a half, watch the entire show with no bloody adverts. I love it. And it makes no odds to me. It's just like watching a movie for an hour and a half. You know what I mean? Like that, yeah. It's great. It's continuous. It's great. So I could not recommend enough getting the Impact Plus app for your phone, your tablet, whatever you want it on. And like I said, you know, if you go to www.impactwrestling.com, you will find that the Impact Plus is all featured on their website as well. So, you know, you just literally have to go on the website and you can watch the show. It could not be simpler. So, you know, I couldn't encourage people enough to get out there. The Impact Plus app is really good as well. Since the most recent update they've made, the layout is really cool. It's very easy to access. I think it's better than the WWE Network. I mean, I had that before, and this is much better. The way that they've laid it out is much stronger. There's some great content on there. Plus, you get your Impact Plus specials every single month if you subscribe to the paid version. I mean, you know, if you're in the UK, it's less than a packet of cigarettes, you know, every month. You know, that's just what I'm saying. If you're a smoker, then you know what I mean. Like, you probably smoke more fags in a week than it costs you to have your Impact Plus app. But you know, there you go. So at the end of the day, it's very easy to access it. So make sure you do. Just get the Impact Plus app. It's the way to go. Download it, watch it every single week from 3 a.m. at your leisure. That's the beauty of it. Ad-free, and you can get up at 3 a.m. and watch it if you want to. You can watch it at 3 p.m. the following day. You know, you can watch it 2 days later. It doesn't matter. It's there, available at any time that you want to watch that show. So get your Impact Plus app. Could not state it enough. Okay, so Thursday nights, I'm in favor of it. Like you say, it's a traditional home of TNA Impact Wrestling. So it doesn't bother me either way. It does mess up our show plans though, but we will get that right. We'll get it sorted, won't we, lads?
Oh yeah, we've had bumps at the start, so we go way back to when we tried to kick off with Rosemary and our character profiles. You know, we hit the curve about 3 times there, so it's not something new for us really.
We'll get there. We'll definitely get there. Okay. So, interestingly enough, though, moving on, how does this affect the AEW ads? Because at the end of the day, it must be the end of them, because they can't advertise Dynamite on a Wednesday on a Thursday.
I think they'll still advertise them because they'll just say tune in next week.
Well, they could do. But what about this? What if all of a sudden they stop doing the paid ads for the following Wednesday on Tuesdays because it's not there anymore, and Impact suddenly start buying ads on AEW on a Wednesday to advertise the Thursday show? How cool would that be?
I did also think that maybe Impact will start doing ads on Dynamite and say tune in Thursday. I did also think that.
I think that would be really cool. What do you think, Joe?
If he, no, turnabout is fair play. Let's be honest, Tony. You know, Tony Khan, I know you're listening. Really, turnabout is fair play. At least give Impact about two or 3 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, however long it's been. You know, we got Don Callis and the Good Brothers from Impact Wrestling over there, and after Rebellion, I think we're going to get some sort of invasion. But you know, give Impact some time on there just to rub salt in your wounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I think we need to start seeing a few Impact talents turn up at Dynamite, maybe even turn up at some of their pay-per-views or whatever. I think that would be really cool. But we just have to, we just have to wait and see. We've got to be patient. You know, one thing that we do know with Impact is they like a slow burn storyline. So, you know, and I can see this definitely being a slow burn, and then all of a sudden it'll all kick in and go nuts. I think that's where we're heading with this. So I think, you know, I couldn't encourage the fan base and just to be a bit patient. You know, you wait. The payoff is coming. The payoff will definitely be coming. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, and you got.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, everyone needs to stop expecting everything to rush through. Because if things get rushed through, it's just going to fall flat on its face. You know, look at the dreaded place up north. You know, they rush things through and everything's sloppy and everyone's complaining. So, Impact Wrestling's doing this smart thing. They've built up Kenny Omega coming into Impact Wrestling slowly, and the majority of it is working out fine.
Definitely. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, like Joe said, that you know you've had the odd person come in from the odd company, and they've had an impact on our roster. And you got to remember that you've got an entire company with another entire company. Things aren't going to change overnight. You know, they've got to make an impact on, you know, one company to another. So give it at least until Bound for Glory.
I think so. I think it's one of those things. It just, you know, the thing is, if you gave the payoff too early, then everyone would be like, oh yeah, what a waste of time that was.
Yeah.
You know, so it's difficult. You've got to kind of, you know, you've got to run with it. You know, you've got to enjoy the fact that we are getting some great talents turn up on Impact at the moment. I mean, you know, we've got obviously Finn Juice, so the current Impact tag team title holders from New Japan. I love seeing the thing last night on Impact where they did like a highlight reel of the way that they were pushing the Impact title on New Japan. I thought that was really good. And again, you know, it's kind of what I think the fan base would like to have seen happening with AEW, but I think the relationship with AEW that it's being done in a slightly different way. So what they're saying with New Japan, it's all going to be sort of kind of like all, you know, positive and, you know, and all the rest of it. But what they're building, I think, with AEW is more of a rivalry as opposed to a working. You know, we all know that it's storyline, but I think that's what they're trying to do here. They're trying. I mean, I spoke about it from the start. They're trying to create Impact as the face and AEW as the heel. You know, the big bad heel company. That's what they're doing there. So it's a completely different dynamic. So just be patient, guys, because we're going to get the payoff. It's going to happen. You know, you're going to get pissed off because I'm sure Kenny's going to win the Impact title at Rebellion, and everyone's going to be pissed about it all, which is the exact point on what they're trying to achieve. so that when we get to the payoff point, when someone comes along and wins that title back, an Impact roster member, whoever that may be, we can talk about that in a bit, that, is going to become the big payoff moment, where we can all mark out. And, if it was back in the old days, we could start throwing toilet rolls in the ring and all the rest of it, So, there's going to be a payoff. It's going to happen. We just have to be patient. That's for sure. Now, that actually leads me on nicely onto who we think. So I think we're all in agreement that this is going to be a long burn. The payoff's going to come. We're thinking it's going to come at Bound for Glory, in the way of someone potentially taking, obviously, an Impact roster member taking that title back and bringing it back to Impact. But who do we think that potentially could be? Now, I think at the moment there's two. So we've got Moose, obviously. Now, obviously, Moose has been taken out of the storyline at the moment. He has to rethink and all that kind of stuff. I think that's all part of the story. That's part of him, again, coming back, rethinking what he's doing, and, being potentially a better man again. But the other option, as we saw last week on BTI, Sami Callihan confronting Don Callis and saying, look, whoever wins at Rebellion, I'm coming for that title. What are your thoughts on this one, Steve? I mean, do you think I'm on the right lines here, or have you got another thought?
No, I think you're definitely on the right thoughts there. I mean, I think Sammy is definitely going to be in the picture, like, at some point. And Moose is definitely going to be back there with pretty soon. This whole story of him walking away and coming back again. I mean, I did say that I think he, after losing to Swan, he would take that break from the scene, and then come back again with like a bang. And although I said I think that Swan would be Omega, there's part of me that thinks that now Omega pinning Swan and then Moose beating Omega would set up a good three-way, because you'd have Omega, who would beat Swan and lose to Moose who's beaten Omega but lost to Swan, and Swan who's beaten Moose and lost to Swan.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just,
yeah.
I was getting lost there. No, I get what
all
you're
of
saying.
them have beaten one but lost to the other, and set up a good sort of three-way dance.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sammy's beaten Rich Swann and lost to him as well. So he's
interesting. What about you then, Joe? What do you think on all of this?
Yeah, I agree. I think come Rebellion, Kenny Omega is going to win. Obviously, it's black and white. Don Callis is the invisible hand. He's already got this written out already. Come about Slammiversary, or probably an Impact Plus special beforehand. Hopefully we'll get Moose to, and then we'll know where Moose stands with his contract and everything. It's not due to expire till July, so hopefully we'll get Moose versus Omega, even if it's Moose versus Omega 1. Then Slammiversary will get Moose versus Omega, possibly Sami Callihan versus Omega. Then come Bound for Glory. I want to see a big 4, maybe 5-way match. And Eddie Edwards is rebuilding a rivalry now with Don Callis. And Eddie Edwards is I think Eddie Edwards might be the other wild card for this. But we might get Omega versus Moose versus Rich Swann versus Sammy versus Eddie Edwards. And
yeah, that's interesting. Actually, I forgot about Eddie, because this past week on Impact last night, Eddie again was sort of kind of getting involved with Rich, because you're right. Is Eddie going to be the savior of Impact? Because actually on commentary they constantly say they're constantly saying that basically Eddie Edwards is Impact Wrestling, or they say that kind of thing all the time.
He is the heart and soul of Impact Wrestling. He is the new age Tommy Dreamer for Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but yeah, I don't think Eddie would end up winning the title, but I think
he had a part in it.
I think he may well have a part in it, definitely. And it would be great to see, because the fact of the matter is Eddie is an incredible wrestler, and regardless of anything else, when he's in the ring, it's must-see TV. Eddie is an amazing in-ring competitor. So when you put Eddie into any match, it's must-see. You've got to watch it because it's great.
And he's got history with pretty much every wrestler on the Impact roster.
Yeah, you're right.
But I wonder if whoever wins it, like I'm leaning to Moose, but I wonder if they'll win it at an AEW pay-per-view.
That's the other thing. It could be a cross promotion event over the summer where the title change hands there, and that would be awesome, especially if it's Moose or Sami Callihan who snatches the title off Kenny Omega there.
Yeah,
that's
like Kenny
interesting,
turns up to our
actually.
pay-per-view and wins our belt, so we'll turn up to their pay-per-view and win it back.
Yeah,
or even win their belt.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, could you imagine? I mean, there's an interesting one there because obviously we had a dynamic being created last night with Sami Callihan trying to recruit Trey as his tag partner. You know, now is there a potential that we could see Sami Callihan, Trey Miguel versus the Young Bucks for the AEW tag titles?
Yeah, or Moose and Willie Mack could be another one. Not Moose and Willie Mack, sorry, Eddie Edwards and Willie Mack.
Oh yeah, Eddie Edwards and Willie Mack could potentially happen. But I mean, it would be cool to see Rich Swann and Willie Mack come back. Reform their team as well.
Their chemistry was fantastic.
Exactly. You know, they were great together. But yeah, so there's some interesting things that are sort of kind of like being built, creating intrigue all the way through the show last night. So. Actually talking about tag teams, obviously Havoc and Nevaeh split last night, didn't they, as well? So, we got to think to ourselves, we can go and talk about the Knockouts division in a second, but Havoc and Nevaeh splitting up. I mean, what are your thoughts on this one? I think for me, I'm going to say this now, I think they shouldn't have got back together. For me, they should have just split and that was it. You know what I mean? What they did last night should have happened last time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think they built it up, but they took it. You can see it coming, and I'm happy that it's happened now. It was good to see. Could it work? But the way Nevaeh turned on Havoc rather than Havoc turning on Nevaeh, you could tell that Nevaeh was the one that basically snapped. First she was blaming herself for all the downfall, but because Havoc took the pin this time, she just said, she made it clear she's not the weakest link. Havoc's gotten too soft, basically.
Yeah.
And Nevaeh, I think Nevaeh is going to bring back up that really nasty side of Jessica Havoc.
Yeah, I mean, there's a definite potential here to create one hell of a feud between the two of them. We know that they've got history. They've got 16 years worth of history. We know that they wrestled at Wrestling Revolver, for years. So I think we're going to see some classic matches now between Havoc and Nevaeh over the coming months, which could lead to a pretty impressive showing at Rebellion. I think this is going to be a Rebellion match. I initially thought, we're going to see a hardcore match between these guys at Hardcore Justice, but obviously that's not going to happen as Havoc is now obviously part of the Knockouts Hardcore #1 contender match at Hardcore Justice. But again, as we were talking off air here, there is a potential now for Nevaeh to get involved in that and maybe cost Havoc the win. What do you think on that one, Steve?
Yeah, it's very possible that's what's happened. That's what will happen. I wish I could say that I was more interested in this match, but I think that the back and forth booking over the last few weeks has kind of, I don't know, maybe in a couple of weeks when they really get into the feud a bit more, I'll have my in. But like Joe said, if they'd have done the turn when a couple of weeks ago when they first felt that tension, then I'd have been more invested. But it feels like they weren't sure where they wanted to go with it, so they went a bit back and forth, and now the turn has finally happened.
Yeah, I think they definitely, yeah, I think you're right there. I think potentially they weren't 100% sure where they wanted to take the story, or whether they couldn't turn them too early, because obviously if they turn them too early, then you've got like weeks and weeks and weeks before you get to that potential payoff pay-per-view match, which you know is going to be incredible. So it's going to be. Yeah, for me, you're right. I think it should. For me, it should have happened like 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, when it was all really starting to come. They should have just split and it all started.
Although
then.
I will say that I'm still not 100%. I don't. The matches will be fantastic, and I'd love to see both women in the singles picture. But as of right now, you've split up the only other
Legitimate tag team.
the only other known tag team. You've got like obviously Jazz and ODB, and Jazz and you know, Grace and ODB, but they're not established teams. You know, this is the only other established tag team that you've got.
Yeah, unless they look at bringing in a couple,
Yeah.
you know, like they bring C Stars back in possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does make it difficult. I mean, obviously, you know, that leads us into the state of the knockouts division, to be fair. Now, you know, I'm a huge knockouts fan, and every single woman that's currently on that knockouts roster for me is amazing. I just think we're looking a bit thin at the moment with the recent losses of Taya, etc. You know, and there is a potential that we might be losing Jordan fairly soon as well. You know, I think it's looking a bit thin on the ground. Now, we've also got Kimberly, who I believe is injured. So,
Yes,
which is why she's not been around. So, you know, that's a bit of, so at the moment, she's obviously, again, that makes it even thinner. So she's not around at the moment. And I'm guessing she's obviously not going to be at Hardcore Justice or Rebellion either, because they're not able to build anything unless she sort of comes in and, I don't know, has a running part or something with regards to a Diana match or whatever. I don't know. So there is a possibility we could see her, but obviously I don't think she's going to be in the ring. Now, you've also got obviously the Susan thing, and again, this past week on Impact, you can see that there's the hint that we might be seeing Sue Young again, with Tommy sort of kind of calling her Sue.
Yeah.
I think that
segment was hilarious.
Yeah, and there was a scene where Susan got a bit of a slap, wasn't it? Was it? I can't remember. Was it Jazz?
Jazz whacked him with a trash can.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden,
had the mighty shoe. Jazz has got the ECW weapon.
Exactly. So all of a sudden, she's now sort of kind of like, you know, getting the whole kind of what's going on thing. So it's going to be interesting to see whether we see the return of Sue at Hardcore Justice, because I think that's what Tommy's alluding to, is potentially return of Sue, which would be pretty awesome. Because you know, as we all know, we are big fans of Sue, and she's so versatile. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Susan. She's a great character. It's just another bow to the string of Sue Young, or Susie, whichever you want to go with. I love all three. I think they're all three totally different characters, and I think they're really, really great. But would be good to see Sue Young turn up, I think, at Hardcore Justice. That would be pretty cool. One of her epic entrances or something, you know.
It would be interesting if we had the a reboot of the Mick Foley, where Sue comes out, then Susan comes out, and then Sue Young comes out.
Yeah, man, that would be crazy. I'm not sure. They might be able to do that at Hardcore Justice. I'm not sure they'll be able to do that on a live pay-per-view, but they could do it at Hardcore Justice because...
Well, yeah, because they are having the gauntlet,
yeah, because it's recorded. So, yeah, there is a potential of being able to do something like that. That would be crazy. But, you know, the state of the knockouts at the moment, they're probably a good 2 or 3, maybe even 4 knockouts short at the moment. You know, especially when you consider that they've now reintroduced the knockouts tag titles as well. So, you know, straight away you're going to need at least, you know, 2 or 3 tag teams to make that a division as such. But there have been a few rumors that the tapings that they've just happened, that there was, well, for a start, we had the tease of Taylor Wilde last night, this past week on Impact. Straight away, I got that one. For me, because I listened to her weekly podcast, so straight away, as soon as the music played, I'm like Taylor Wilde, because that's her music for her podcast. So I was like, awesome, and then obviously, I got the hints straight away. I just knew straight away. So Taylor Wilde, I've been waiting a long time for this. I'm so excited that she's coming back. Hopefully next week. I think it'd be good for her to come back next week. Who knows? Maybe she's going to bring someone with her. There are rumors going around as well that Rachel Ellering was also at the tapings. Now, and there is sort of a question mark on whether Chris Hero is with her, because I know that Chris Hero is a real life partner. And I believe he was at the set of tapings. Now, whether that's just a moral support thing, or are we going to see Chris Hero turn up on Impact at some point in the future? Who knows? And I'm not saying he was there for this set of tapings, but there's no reason why he wouldn't have been there to maybe have a chat with management. You never know. So it would be interesting to see if that happens. But either way, Rachel Ellering joining the Knockouts division would be absolutely amazing. And I remember when we had all that first set of releases, Joe and I discussed some of the talents that we would love to see in the Knockouts division, and Rachel Ellering was right at the top of that list, and we've not seen anything from her pretty much for the whole time. So, I'm going to go to Joe first on this one, because we are both Rachel Ellering fans. We've already discussed this. So, what are your thoughts on the state of the Knockouts division at the moment, Joe?
Yeah, it's gone from probably the top division last year to it's had a massive layer slice stuff. Rosemary needs a bit more ring action as well. We've not seen her in the ring too much again, which is I'm disappointed. We got, most likely this is going to be Jazz's last match come Hardcore Justice, with this fantastic stipulation that Tommy Jim has brought back. You got something, I got something, so let's settle it how we did in ECW. Winner takes all, basically.
Yep.
So Jazz is going to be going. Jordan Grace, I think, is going to be staying on for a little while longer, although she has given an interview about her long-term plans, but they're long-term. It's what she wants to do after Impact Wrestling. It's not saying I'm going after this contract is done. I think she's going to be staying on until next year, possibly another 2 years. Rachel Ellering.
Jordan is young.
Yeah.
What is she, 23 or something like that? She's young.
Yeah.
She's got a massive career ahead of her, and everything's improved. Her in-ring was always amazing, but that's got even better. But her promo skills have improved so much since she came in. I remember the first 2 or 3 weeks that she came in, she was very green on the mic, shall we say, in promos and stuff like that. Whereas now her promos are very believable, and she doesn't falter at all. I think her promos are really, really strong now. So it's going to be interesting to see. Like you say, is she going to extend for another year, maybe, and then look at possibly moving into bigger things? Now, she has indicated that her long-term goal is to end up up north. You understand that. At the end of the day, regardless of whether we're fans of the product or not, you have to admit that they are the biggest brand in the world. So it's got to be a goal of probably any wrestler to end up performing or gaining a contract, even if it's only for 12, 18 months, 2 years, with the WWE. It's got to be, hasn't it? Because it's almost like, the pinnacle at the moment, as it stands at the moment. So you can understand, and most wrestlers will have grown up with it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think, Steve?
Yeah, well, as Joe said, like the knockouts division is kind of in an interesting point right now, because if you didn't have the tag titles, then you'd have an okay division. You know, there's a reasonable amount of people in there for one title, but since you've added the tag division, the tag titles, the knockouts division looks quite bare, because you don't have too many people to share over 3 titles, sadly. So you do need more women to yeah, more knockouts to share over more titles. So yeah, that's where the trouble comes.
Yeah, I think there's what is there, 12 at the moment. I think is it 12? I
Yeah.
think there's 12 knockouts at the moment.
Yeah, and then you
like
take
you
into
say,
injuries and things like that.
yeah, I think you need to have at least 16 or 17 knockouts on that roster
Yeah.
to account for a tag title or tag division as such. And of course the the knockouts title as well. Interestingly enough, though, I think someone like Taylor Wilde is going to come in straight after that knockouts title. If she's not going for the knockouts title, and there's a potential she's bringing maybe Sarita with her or something like that. Sarah, I forgot what her name is now. Is it Sarah?
Sarah Stock.
That's it, Sarah Stock. She was tag champion, knockouts tag champions with her. So there is a potential there that could happen. Maybe we could see see her going for that, and maybe Rachel Ellering comes in and goes for the knockouts title. There's potential, but we do need to get some stuff. We need to start. What's the word? I'm like livening it up, brightening it back up again, boosting it back up.
Yeah.
That's not to say any of the people on the roster aren't strong, because they all are. We just need a few more.
Yeah.
To really start getting some fresh matches. Otherwise, we're going to start seeing the same matches over and over again, and we're going to get bored. So I think that's the problem. But I think we'll get there. I think we've got, like I say, we've got some rumors that there were some new knockouts at this recent set of taping. So let's cross these fingers, guys, and hope over the coming weeks we start seeing a few introductions to the division. Now, again, these are just our opinions. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you think on the state of the current knockouts division, where we're going with it. I also feel that they've probably broken up Havoc and Nevaeh so that they've got more singles potential there as well. Again, that will be
gives the singles picture a couple extra as well. It's the tag division where they're struggling.
Exactly, but we've seen enough of Havoc and Nevaeh as a tag team now. There's only so many times they can keep losing to Fire and Flavor, and again, we need to start introducing more tag title contenders, don't we? We need more getting involved in that. We need to see more feuds, we need to see more of Fire and Flavor, because they are absolutely superb.
Yeah, another Killer Kelly still got interest in Impact Wrestling, and Thunder Rosa is apparently still not signed with AEW. She's still technically a free agent. So, although Thunder Rosa is obviously a bit of a long shot, but
what a team that could be.
Yeah, as the travel restrictions lift up a bit more around the world, hopefully towards the end of the year, I think Killer Kelly might be someone who we'll see on the roster as well.
I hope so. I mean, I've been a massive advocate of Killer Kelly.
She's been fantastic when she came in with Renee Michelle last year. That was awesome, and I would love to see her back.
I'd like to see both of those on the Impact roster. I think Renee and Killer Kelly, both absolutely superb talents, and they are a must for our knockouts division. I think they would be awesome. You add in Rachel Ellering and Taylor Wilde, possibly Sarah Stock, and Jesus Christ, all of a sudden, overnight you could have again the best female division in the world, like literally overnight, when you start adding in people like that. So I'm quite excited, because I think if Rachel and Taylor turn up over the next couple of weeks, I think that's a really, really good start. And like you say, if we can get Killer Kelly over as well, maybe Renee Michelle, if Thunder Rosa turns up, that would be pretty awesome as well. You know, there is quite a few people out there at the moment that would make amazing additions to the Knockouts roster. And I'm still going to say this now. Why the hell is LuFisto not on the Knockouts roster? And I tell you what, Hardcore Justice would be the place to bring her.
Oh yes,
He would be amazing for that. You know, so yeah, interesting stuff moving forward with the Knockouts division. But I do wish all the girls that's on the roster at the moment all the best. You know, we do love you guys, and we just hope that over the coming weeks we start seeing some fresh new talent come in to help bolster your ranks and create some new fresh matches. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so talking about Hardcore Justice, now there is something that I wanted to mention about Hardcore Justice, obviously, is that they've changed the time. So because Hardcore Justice is on the WrestleMania weekend, it's going to, in the US, Eastern, it's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern time in the US, which means that over here, UK guys, it's going to be on at 7 o'clock. So a good time for us. It makes a change. It's not at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, the more people that can maybe sign up to Impact Plus over the next week, the better. So you could tune in to Hardcore Justice at 7 p.m. on a Saturday. Great for us. And I think it's a really, really good move for Impact as well to do that, because it's sort of kind of, you know, you watch Hardcore Justice at 3 p.m. and then you can lead into night one of WrestleMania after watching some really great hardcore matches, and then obviously tune into the PG version. Would be pretty awesome to kick off WrestleMania weekend. What are your thoughts on this one, Joe?
Hardcore Justice on paper, just looking at the team. This is me going to be biased and a mark now, guys. But on paper now, with the two matches we got now, it's already wiped the floor of week 1 of WrestleMania.
I think you're right. I mean, I think by the time it comes along and we get all the matches, I think we're going to be like, Jesus, this is one hell of a card.
Yeah, it's like this is how you do it, and this is how you fuck it up.
Yeah, this is how you do wrestling, and then WrestleMania. So, what are your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah. As I say, well done. I mean, say they've done well to kind of spot. Hang on a minute, we're not going to be able to sort of have our usual time slot. We'll put it on at a slightly different time, not only to kind of, not necessarily to compete, but maybe to kind of give people a warm up and then lead into something. So
exactly.
They've not necessarily thought, hang on, we'll try and compete. We'll give people a warm up slot. So if people want to watch something, they'll think, hang on a minute, we'll watch this first to get ourselves ready. So they might think, hang on, we really enjoyed this. Maybe we'll watch what's going on with this product.
Yeah, if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't get this.
No,
but it doesn't. But that's because Impact can't compete with WWE. So
no, I'm just saying, you know, if the option was there for Vince McMahon just to put WrestleMania on a different time, it wouldn't happen. Even if he was paid to do it, it's just that's just how his mindset is. You know, I'm the boss of everybody. This is my empire. You're all below me. So tough. You work around me. I don't work around you.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's the right move by Impact. They've done the right thing. For me, I'm not interested in WrestleMania, so Hardcore Justice is enough for me, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. The fact it's just cool that you know, I don't have to wait up to 1 o'clock in the morning and potentially, you know, be absolutely shattered the following day.
that's
you know,
the upside for us here in Britain.
Getting on a bit now, lads. You know, I need my sleep. So I do struggle a bit with these late nights these days. Gone are the days where I used to stay up till like 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, I used to literally just stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning for every single WWE pay-per-view. It was just insane. My brother used to randomly you like come down in the morning and I'm asleep on the sofa, and stuff like that. So so it's all good. I mean, I think it's a great idea, and I'm looking forward to this show. Like you say, we've got a couple of matches already announced. I think it's going to be a badass show. Tommy Dreamer, got full run. It's going to be really good. I couldn't recommend it enough. Get the Impact Plus app, guys. You've got a 30-day free trial if you sign up anyway. So, Hardcore Justice could actually be you could actually watch it for free. If you think it's an absolute load of tosh and you don't ever want to see an Impact Plus special ever again, all you have to do is cancel your free subscription. Done. And you've got it for free.
You sign up in April, you're going to get Hardcore Justice, and you're going to get Rebellion. No, Rebellion's a pay-per-view. Sorry.
Yeah, Rebellion's not. Yeah.
Oh God, there's my mind going in a different direction again.
Follow it. You keep falling into the empty space, Joe.
Yeah. Oh, that's my marketing skills are terrible.
Never mind.
You wouldn't think I'd done a course in media studies where marketing and production and all that's a key thing.
Fair play. So it's going to be interesting. Like I said, if there was ever a time to sign up for your 30-day free trial, this is the one. So come on, UK guys. It's on at 7 p.m. WrestleMania weekend. You get to watch Hardcore Justice. If you want to then stay up, that can lead into WrestleMania night one. What a great weekend of wrestling you can have. So it should be pretty interesting. Also, I mean, obviously talking about sort of kind of like a changing in the time slots. It's also been announced that Rebellion is now going to be held on Sunday the 25th instead of Saturday the 24th. Now, we believe that's with regards to the fact that there's a big UFC event on the Saturday. So again, Impact are like, well, why compete with that if we don't have to? Let's just move the date. Makes perfect sense. I hope this is only a one-off though, because I've been really enjoying the Saturday night pay-per-view. I think it works really well. Again, it's good for people that are, having to stay up late to watch it, so that on the, they're not having to, have a late night and then get up early for work on a Monday, that kind of thing. But Rebellion has moved, so Sunday the 25th. Make sure you got that in your diary. Get on the Fight app and get that one booked in. I've already done that. I literally, the minute it becomes available, I buy a pay-per-view, and it's done. So mine was done. It's in the bag, and I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be amazing. We've got a historic main event. Obviously, Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann, title versus title, AEW versus Impact. Interesting, very, very interesting. One thing I did notice is that Rich Swann is carrying around both belts still, so they've not necessarily unified the actual. I don't know. I'm not sure if they've unified it or whether he's basically a two. Whether he's a two-time champion. Two separate championships. I'm not sure. I also noticed that he's carrying the black strap rather than the white strap, which Moose was carrying. So that's interesting. What's going on there? So, have they done this purposely so that if or when Rich loses that main event to Kenny Omega, we don't know whether he will, but we're speculating he might. He's still carrying the TNA title.
That's possible.
No, but both the belts are unified. It's like in boxing, or when Chris Jericho won with WCW and WWF title, you have the two belts for a while. I think after Rebellion, whoever wins is going to mold all three titles into one, and it's going to be like a cross promotion title.
Really? What you think that it's going to be? You think that we're going to get a unified AEW and Impact title?
Yeah,
together.
It's an option. It's probably what they're going to do for the short term, and obviously Impact Wrestling is going to eventually get their world title back, so the belts will be split again. So Impact and AEW have their world titles respectively. I'm not saying that when Kenny Omega wins the Impact Wrestling title, his belt and Impact Wrestling going to scrap the world title belt completely. So you're not going to see it on television. You are going to see it on TV, but it'll still be under one banner. So Kenny Omega will be the unified world heavyweight champion, or the world champion.
Okay, yeah,
something
no, I
like
get
that.
what you're saying now. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
But the
But I still-
TNA world title is probably going to go after Rebellion. So it will just be the Impact world title and then AEW's world title.
Do you think there is a possibility that they might introduce a new belt then?
I hope they do, because a lot of people are calling for it. We got the X Division title, and a lot of guys are going for that.
I mean,
But
can you imagine a new unified title in the same style as the current TNA title? But because it's bigger, isn't it? It's like bigger.
That belt is beautiful, isn't it?
It's a great belt. It's for me, it's probably the best belt going. I think it's an amazing belt. I like the AEW one. It's very sparkly, the AEW one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that TNA title is the bollocks.
yeah,
And if I was ever going to buy a replica belt, that would be the one.
yeah, I don't want to see the TNA title go back in the bin or try and do what EC3 did and burn it. No, I want to see that belt circulating somewhere, even if it's a revamped version of the King of the Mountain title or something like that, a big gimmick match belt. Yeah, that could go to both promotions. It would be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'd be interesting if there was a title that was sort of kind of like an AEW Impact kind of joint title that could be defended, like you say, like a King of the Mountain style type thing that could be. But it's a cross promotion title.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Well, that title that Brian Cage has got is doing absolute nothing. They can do that as a cross promotion belt.
That's just a prop.
That's what I mean. That's doing absolute nothing.
It's not a real belt. I mean, Brian Cage, goes over to AEW, and let's face the facts. I mean, he was better off in Impact.
Yeah,
they've not made anything of him whatsoever.
To be honest, there's a lot of wrestlers they've got that are better off in Impact.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with Ethan Page. I'm interested to see where they're going to go with Ethan Page. I think they'll probably. I mean, they must see the talent that he has.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I will say about the titles, though, I'm not a fan of the unified title name.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't like the word unified. I'd rather they just call it title or some. Yeah.
Yeah, the AEW and Impact Wrestling World Title. Yeah. I hope that's how the name goes.
I just hope they drop the word unified. It just doesn't come across as very, very professional.
Yeah, that's more for boxing than for professional wrestling. It just doesn't fit it's not the same competitive market,
No, you could be right. Now, moving on a little bit. Now, what are your thoughts with regards to the way things are going down with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers? Now, this past week on Impact, what we saw was basically Kenny and Don pretty much taking them, the piss out of taking the Michael out of the Good Brothers for losing their title. Are we seeing potentially? Is there a split here? Are we starting to see a little bit of dissension in the ranks, or do you think it's just it's the lads and a bit of banter? What are your thoughts on this one, Steve?
I don't know, because you see them. Basically, I think all it is Kenny and Don like to win, and if they don't win, then they're not happy. And the fact that the Good Brothers lost, then they're like, well, you lost, you're not in the winning camp no more. I think that's kind of all it is. But at the end, we see them kind of working together. So I think it's a case of, well, we'll give you another chance. And if you can't keep winning, then that's it. So I think if in the 6-man match, if they lose again, then we're going to see what happens next in the story.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think initially it's bants, isn't it? It's just a bit of bants. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, after Don Callis shot down the Good Brothers in that promo yesterday, I was expecting Don Callis to just get up and whack Kenny Omega and then walk out the room, just to make a statement there. and the way that then they got them all doing that Chinese whisper for what their big plan would actually be. So, and it set up this amazing match to kick off the new era on Thursday. So, I think it's a bit of banter, but at some point it is going to get to a point where the Good Brothers are thinking, "Oh, fuck you, Don, fuck you, Kenny, and we're going to do our thing." I think that's going to come after Rebellion. I think we're going to see where it goes with Finn Juice, and then we're going to see what happens with the Good Brothers there. Especially if they don't win, then Don Callis said to him, "You know, if you guys aren't winning, then you're not." I've not got any interest in you. He's there for Kenny Omega. He's not there for anybody else.
No. I see. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's where it's going. And the interesting thing here is that although we're sort of kind of like seeing some heel stroke, like a heel face thing brewing with regards to AEW and Impact Wrestling, Kenny's sort of kind of in the middle, because Kenny is not really like pro AEW, and he doesn't seem to be pro Impact. He's just sort of kind of sat in the middle, isn't he?
Kenny Omega is just he's just there soaking it all in. He's doing exactly what Don Callis wants him, and Tony Khan's reaction on the paid ad this week spelled it out perfectly. He's happy Kenny Omega's on the roster, but he hates him.
No, exactly. And I think that's sort of kind of, that's what I guess that's what I'm trying to say. He's sort of kind of like he's not an Impact guy or he's not an AEW guy. He's just a Kenny Omega. That's it.
It's sort of like Kenny runs in his own runs to the beat of his own drum, isn't it?
Exactly. And again, he's AAW champion as well, isn't he? So, which is weird because there's a relationship there with AAA, but he's not carrying that belt around.
But for a little while you had in a way it was like Impact, AEW, and then the Bullet Club were kind of in the middle. They were kind of just doing their own thing, but then the Young Bucks kind of were like, we don't kind of want a part of this, so they kind of in a way like went back to being on the AEW side. And to a degree you're not sure where the Good Brothers stand now. They're kind of still in the club, sort of.
Are they in the club, or is the option there still for the Bullet Club to come back together?
I think it was just all a big tease. It was just, I think what they were saying was, we could do this if we wanted to.
I wouldn't be surprised if the club at the end of all this do all get back together again.
Yeah, even for a one-off. We had that tease for Aces and Eights leading up to Summerversary last year. Because
don't forget, we've still got the ties with New Japan.
There's loads of stuff. There's so much potential here. It's crazy. But what I do want to start seeing now, though, is some of the Impact roster turning up on AEW, turning up in New Japan. We know that they regularly go and compete at AAA. So there should be no reasons why this doesn't continue with these two promotions now. I think what we've got here, a lot of people are saying, is the relationship with Noah still there now we've got the relationship with New Japan, because we know that traditionally in the past they've not got on too well. However, in recent months, if you look at some of the news and rumors that are going around, there seems to be a relationship that's now been built up between Noah and New Japan. Now, is that coincidence, or is that something that's come along since Don and Scott have been talking to everybody, saying, look, what is the point in this? Let's just all work together, create some great shows, create some great wrestling events. And when you look at it at the moment, your big wrestling sort of, your big wrestling nations is obviously USA, Mexico, and Japan. Now you could throw the UK in there, but we don't have a big promotion here at the moment. Doesn't mean to say there couldn't be. I'm pinning my hopes on this Wrestle Carnival thing, which seems to be getting a lot of momentum at the moment. So, could this turn into something really, really big for the UK? Who knows? But at the moment, you've got the main nations, USA, Mexico, and Japan, the three big nations working together. You know, and that in itself is an amazing thing. So if you are a wrestling fan, you need to be getting on board on this, because, you know, history is being made here. History is being made. Will Ring of Honor be joining this?
That would be interesting. I could see it happening. I really you know, not just because EC3 is there. I could see it happening just out of for just for the sake of to save the company. You know, I know in the past the company's had a bit of a rocky road, and it would just make sense if Impact Wrestling could rebuild bridges to Ring of Honor again. You know,
there's some great talents on that roster. There is
Yeah.
some incredible talents on that roster. You know, you got the Briscoes in there, amazing tag team, and they're great individually too. You know, obviously EC3's over there. You've got Jay Lethal, you know, former, you know, X Division tag team champion in Impact. Also, obviously a Ring of Honor champion. You know, there's some great talents over there. Jordan Grace's other half, you know, the foundation. There's some really, really good stuff. Some really good talents over there. Do you know someone I'd love to see, you know, turn up at Impact Wrestling again now? And this is based, I'm thinking New Japan again now, is Will Ospreay. Like, I would love to say Will Ospreay turn up and do some matches on Impact.
He had a couple of matches, didn't he?
He did have a couple, but I would just love to see him get in there and challenge him for, say, I don't know, an X Division title shot, or, you know, I just think Will Ospreay would be amazing. Once these borders open up, there's some great talents here in the UK. You know, Ricky Knight Jr., I think, would be amazing as part of the Impact roster. I know that he's had some tryouts with WWE, you know, but if you know, Impact could get in there and snap up a talent like that from the UK, then you know, that would be awesome. Even if when they finally come back to the UK to do a tour, they didn't find, you know, get people like Ricky Knight Jr., maybe the UK Hooligans, you know, Justin Sizem, guys like that, and get them involved in the UK tour. You know, they could, you know, that's going to bring UK fans to come watch them guys perform that at that kind of level, and also it gives them an opportunity to watch these guys work, you know, and see whether they can work with their current talents as well, you know, and then potentially sign them and bring them on in the future. That, you know, that's my thoughts on things like that. There's so much potential there that you know, in the UK scene, that aren't currently being, you know, devoured by the WWE NXT UK machine at the moment. So, you know, we need to keep an eye on some of these guys and see where they go. I mean, WAW, again, you know, one of my favorite UK promotions, you know, they're doing great guns at the moment. So there is lots of potential here. You know, you know, could somebody, you know, could a promotion in the UK start to really take off, and, you know, maybe they could get involved in this sort of kind of world domination plan. I mean, you've got, you know, you still got what, Progress from Germany.
Yeah.
Massive promotion.
Huge.
Massive promotion, you know, but there are rumors that they've got some sort of involvement with WWE. So, you know, maybe that's not something that could happen. I don't know. But, you know, there's got to be, you know, more and more to this, you know, where we can start building more and more relationships with around the world.
Just think we've had these kind of, well, you've got Noah, New Japan, Impact, AEW, and AAA come together within, like, what, the last year. You know, maybe within the next 2 years, you could have another 5-10 promotions come together. So it's not, you know, you're not going to have 20 promotions come together in 1 year, are you? So, you know, within the next 2 years, who knows who could come together.
I think the best thing about it as well is from a fan point of view, it's amazing. But when you think about it from a wrestler's point of view, you know, to get to perform all over the world on, like, you know, potentially 4 or 5 different televised promotions, you know, that's got to be amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It becomes the option that, you know, maybe the up north isn't the pinnacle. Maybe, you know, because it's just so insular, that, you know, maybe getting involved in an Impact or an AEW or a, you know, AAA or New Japan, whatever. I mean, obviously, you know, New Japan's a big thing anyway, but I'm just saying, like, you know, being able to sign with one of these guys or sign with all of them, like, you know, could you imagine that it starts to become a point whereby if you sign with Impact Wrestling, you're also signing a deal to perform with AEW, AAA, New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Yeah, well, that's what AEW's it's offering with like Pentagon and Phoenix. You know, they're signed with them, but they're still free to go back to AAA whenever they need to. And also, it was announced recently that Lucha Underground might be getting a revamp as well.
That's interesting, that one, because you know, it's got a bit of a cult following, hasn't it? It's got
you know, you look at that promotion. They were cross promotion they did when we saw like Aerostar, Drago versus DJZ, Andrew Everett, and we got Johnny Mundo versus Austin Aries, or whatever it was, Pentagon and Phoenix versus Austin Aries, because Alberto No Show didn't well, he lived up to his name. You know, that event was awesome. So if Lucha Underground could get kicked off again, you know, AEW and Impact Wrestling could really capitalize on that.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think the future of the wrestling industry is, you know, again, with Rebellion, you know, having that history making title for title match going on, it does tell you that, you know, anything now is possible. You know, people can just turn up wherever. It's going to be a very exciting time once we start getting audiences back as well. You know, proper audiences. It's going to be an incredible, exciting time for pro wrestling.
Yeah, Matt Striker was mentioning that as well. That he's missing the audiences coming back. And whenever Matt Striker mentions something, just drops in. It's like a subtle hint that it could be coming back. It could be happening soon.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Maybe Rebellion. Maybe they're going to suddenly announce that Rebellion's going to have an audience.
Yeah, it's things are going in the right direction.
Well, over here they're sort of saying June time, aren't they? But
yeah,
how are they?
I think so, give or take, sort of June, July. But
not for Impact, you mean?
Or just in general, things can start to kind of get back to normal and open again. But
yeah, but I think there is a potential sort of having like that limited audience, if you know what I mean, like AEW have got, you know, where they got that limited audience. There is a possibility, I think, that might happen. I mean, you know, maybe they could turn around and say, right, we're going to do for the Rebellion pay-per-view, which I would assume is still going to be in Nashville. It's not been announced as anywhere else. Then, you know, maybe they'll turn around and say, right, you know, we can have 100 people in the building.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they sell 100 platinum tickets, you know, where like the ones I went to New York, you know, where you get this, you know, interaction, you get loads of this, that, and the other, and you pay like $200 or something, you know, to do it. But only 100 seats are available. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see. I mean, I think that would be really good. I mean, they're doing the celebration.
Well, even that would be something.
Exactly. You know, and you can guarantee that if you're going to pay $200 or whatever, you know, to go in and be part of that, you know, that history making pay-per-view, you're going to be loud. You're going to be giving it your Billy Big Balls the whole night, aren't you? Because
you're going to be on TV at the most.
You're definitely going to be on TV. There's no doubt about that. Now, there's only a couple of more things to talk about, really. One of them, obviously, that's recently come out. The news has recently come out of the set of tapings that we've just had. Is EY's got an ACL injury. Now, he did confirm that. It is fully confirmed that is the case, and he's going to be out now for 6 to 9 months. Now, we know when you know, with the experience of like Chris Sabin, for instance, you know, a torn ACL is a pretty bad injury. We're not sure how it happened. I don't know whether you've got a little bit more insight on that one, Joe. Do you know?
Yeah, it happened about 2 weeks after the match with James Storm, he was in some
right.
multi-man match, and he just landed awkwardly and he injured his leg. But
Okay, was this not? This wasn't an Impact then.
this was it was at an Impact taping. I think he might have damaged his leg this last week with the match with James Storm, and as the tapings had gone on, it got worse and worse. Because we saw him flip over the turnbuckle out to the ring, and I think something might have happened there. And people were saying when we were watching it last night that he was walking a bit more gingerly then. Yeah. But after a couple of weeks into the tapings, after the match, he'd injured his leg, and he's on the shelf now.
Right.
So we've got him and Chris Bay who are out of action now, which is a bit of a huge loss. Yeah,
I mean, it has been confirmed that Chris Bay, there was a rumor about him last week, wasn't there? And obviously it was mentioned on BTI. We initially thought that there was a potential that might just be a storyline, but because there was a bit where they sort of shoehorned something in with regards to Madman Fulton's involvement.
Ace Austin and Fulton were shooting it all down.
Yeah, but the question here is, they did turn out that he's actually genuinely injured. So that's a bit of a shame because he was like on full momentum. I mean, he was rocking it, wasn't he? He was doing great.
Definitely.
So there's a shame there. Obviously, EY's a little bit different because EY at the end of the day doesn't necessarily have to be in the ring to be a big part of the show. So being the fact that he is the leader of Violent by Design, he can just literally be the mouthpiece for the next 6 months or however long it takes him to get back in. In the moment you've got Rhino in there, you've got obviously Dina and Joe Doring to do all the in-ring work, and whoever else, because they on the promo that he did this past week, he indicated that there was going to be more people joining the faction. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes, who's going to be coming into the fold. I do think they need to start bringing in somebody else. So, maybe a Chris Hero would fit into that faction. We all know that he's a bit of a rebellious character. So, maybe a Chris Hero would fit into Violent by Design. Who knows? But there's loads of guys out there that could potentially fit into this mold. Is it me, or did Rhino look a bit weird last night?
Rhino just looked like Rhino to me.
Well,
yeah,
I know that he started to play this character,
but he didn't change his look enough.
I don't know. He just, to me, he was just very rather than. Well, I think Dina is really starting to get the idea of what they're trying to achieve by it. Joe Doring to me is just he just does a snarl.
He doesn't need to do much. He's so intimidating.
He just snarls a bit. But Rhino is sort of gone into the zombie-like trance.
Yeah. I really liked it when they showed him backstage with the fuzzy hair. I thought, oh, that makes him look different enough. And then he came out with the wet hair still. I was like, oh, okay, it's just Rhino.
It could be he could still be being baptized in the holy waters of change.
Yeah. I still like to hear from Rhino. Like, you still want him to cut like some sort of promo as if to sort of say, well, why'd you gone from one to the other?
Yeah, it's going to be something said.
It was interesting. It was interesting though, because I think we touched on it on the live show, Joe, where we were talking about when obviously he suddenly appeared, Rhino was suddenly the man again. That we touched on the fact that it would be nice to then get the promo of him being purified. In the holy water of change. And of course, the following week, what did we get?
Oh, we got that, and that was awesome.
And it works. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go with it. I think this is going to turn into maybe a 6 or 7 man faction. It's going to be quite big.
The trouble is, as we found in the past with big factions, the more people that are in a faction, the less people stand out. Like we found that with people, like groups like Immortal and that, like you have too many people, then the less people tend to like take like stand out and that.
I guess,
you,
but when you're in a faction, do you want people to stand out? I don't know.
yeah, that's what I mean. So the less people that are there, the more they the more they mean something. Less is more
Yeah,
sometimes.
possibly,
Yeah.
possibly. But then, I mean, Aces and Eights probably got to be the biggest faction ever. Although, having said that, I think the Nexus was quite big on WWE many years ago. But I think Aces and Eights. I mean, Christ, there was loads of them, weren't there? In the end, there was absolutely loads of them. I think there must have been about like 8 or 9 of them. But I don't know. I think.
Well, so long as everyone's got something to do in the group, then you can add however many you need. I feel.
Yeah, so
I think it worked with Aces and Eights.
So long as no one gets lost.
Yeah, I think it worked with Aces and Eights because it was almost like a club scenario where you had your pres, your vice president, it was very. So you sort of had a hierarchy, as it were. So yeah, but Violent by Design is basically a cult. So is that now this is where it's going to work because they've even sort of kind of like deluded to the fact that EY is a leader of a cult.
Oh yeah, they've been saying it for a while. That Eric Young's just not the same person he was when he was with Impact Wrestling last. He's completely gone to a whole new direction.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, as a faction, it's not just like a group of wrestlers that get together, like say a Main Event Mafia, for instance, or whatever, or Fortune 4. They're just like so-called the best at what they do or whatever. It's setting up for this. It's almost got like a cult-like purpose.
Yeah.
So this is not like a wrestling faction that we've seen before because it's a cult. So it's a completely different thing. So you can have like probably as many as you like because at the end of the day, people that are involved in cults are brainwashed. So again, that's the kind of thing which I guess Rhino is trying to show. That's why he's going to that kind of almost zombie state. He's like brainwashed into believing that he is now his purest form and all that kind of stuff. So so it's going to be interesting to see where it goes.
Where do you
and
think
I
it is
still
going?
think, and I still think, I'm going to say this now, that there was a hint that Tony Khan has got something to do with Violent by Design when he mentioned, when he mentioned the was it us, when he mentioned them and us in a promo a couple of weeks ago. The way he said it almost indicated that he was in some way.
Yeah, he's what Don Callis is to Kenny Omega. The invisible door and the forbidden door and the invisible hand.
Yeah, maybe he's also the invisible door.
Yeah.
There's something going on, which is going to be a big sort of kind of like reveal, a big surprise at some point. And I don't know. I think that would be quite good. I think it'd be quite cool if Tony Khan was revealed as like the real leader, the real man behind the scenes, and EY was just actually the mouthpiece. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
It would annoy a lot of people.
It would annoy a lot of people.
That's what make it such a good heel faction, though.
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. I totally agree with that. Okay, so interesting to see where all these things are going. Now, I wanted to leave this till last. We've got one last thing to talk about this week, and that obviously is the James Storm 1000th match on Impact Wrestling last night. And funny enough, it was against Eric Young, as we were just talking about. It was a good match. I thought it was great. Some good storytelling. Some fantastic sort of to and fro, some great selling from James Storm. I mean, he really did look like he was out for the count at one point. But again, loads of sort of kind of like different ways to break out of a pin with holding of ropes and all sorts of, not just your usual, kick outs. I thought it was a really good match, and I really, really enjoyed it. Now, the thing I wanted to talk about, though, was not necessarily that match, and I want you guys to sound off on this one in the comments below, right? Do you think that at Bound for Glory this year, James Storm should be inducted into the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame? Or do you think that the introduction of Chris Harris last night will lead to a potential America's Most Wanted, last ride, or whatever you want to call it, to then lead to America's Most Wanted becoming members of the Hall of Fame at Bound for Glory. Not just James, but both of them, Chris Harris and James Storm. I don't know. That was just something that sort of kind of slipped into my head then, actually, as I was talking about it. Don't know. What are your thoughts on this one, Joe?
Yeah, I think James Storm is bound for the Hall of Fame. He did turn down the offer once already a couple of years ago, but I think with Chris Harris coming in and the fact that he is now past that 1K match slot, even he can't. He's not about ego, James Storm. He's about what's best for the business and all that.
I think the comment that he made was something along the lines of like, "Well, I can still wrestle."
Yeah, he doesn't see himself as a Hall of Famer. He said
he only wants to go in the Hall of Fame once he's retired, I think.
So maybe, I mean, there's face the facts. Although he's absolutely beasting it at the moment, maybe he wants to go out while he can still beast it.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility that this could be James Storm's final ride?
No, I don't think it's his last call yet.
No?
No, I think he's still got a few years ahead of him, but I think America's Most Wanted is going to be in the Hall of Fame this year.
I think it's got to be. I think it's got to be America's Most Wanted, hence why they've brought Chris Harris in now. I think we're going to see a run of America's Most Wanted at the Tag Team Championships, going for that. Maybe it's going to be AMW that takes it back from Finjuice.
You beat me to it.
Maybe. Yeah, I'd say I was sort of thinking that when you brought that up, like, as much as Storm doesn't want it, maybe Storm does get inducted by Chris Harris, but then it could be very well as Storm doesn't want to go in on his own, but inducting AMW because they're not active anymore technically, other than maybe one last run. That could very well be AMW's year this year. Because Chris Harris was meant to be back about 1
He was
year
meant
ago,
to be
2 years ago for the TNA one night only.
Yeah.
So
it was going to be.
He's been on their books, hasn't he, to come back? So they could easily get in touch with him. Because we called it, but I think No Surrender maybe coming back, didn't we, Joe?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
He was due to be back last year. Before TNA No Place Like Home, there was going to be Aces and Eights there. America's Most Wanted was going to be back. It was all one big nostalgia show, and then, of course, it was 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020. Apart from us coming onto the scene,
it just went all tits up, didn't it?
Yeah, I think things are going great for us, and then the pandemic comes.
Yeah,
we didn't bring it on. We didn't curse everybody. I can swear.
I think it was interesting because we were starting to. I think Impact was starting to move into slightly larger venues. We saw with the Bound for Glory in Chicago. That was I think they said that was a 3,500 crowd.
Yeah.
Which, from where they were, that it was a big crowd. They were starting to improve. They were starting to go to bigger venues. I think prior to that, they were, the venues were like, 1,000, something like that. I really like St. Clair's College, though.
Yeah, that's got about 2,000 people at least in St. Clair's College. That was probably the biggest one they were going to outside of Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was a great. I really liked it. I thought it was a great venue. I thought the lighting was good. The way they laid everything out was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought that was a good venue. I hope they go back there again. I do, because I think Canada have been good. They've been good to Impact, and they deserve to see Impact live again. And I think, like you say, St. Clair's College for me was a good venue. I also liked the Rebel Center, where they were holding Rebellion previously. But again, that one is not very big. I think there was only like, I think that was like 600 people. It wasn't huge, that venue. It just looked great on TV because of all the lighting and,
Yeah.
you know,
Las Vegas was good too.
Yeah, and Vegas, yeah, Sam's Town was okay, but I felt that I felt the crowd was, and I think it's the venue that does it. The sound at that particular venue was always very flat, even though they were packing it out with 900 to 1,000 people every taping. You know, it was just flat from a sound point of view. I think when you're in there, because I remember I was talking to who was it I spoke to? It might have been Chris Bay actually, and we were talking about the Las Vegas venue, and he was saying, like, when you get in that venue, that it's so loud, but it doesn't come across like that on the TV, which is a real shame. But like I said, I don't think that's the way they mic it, where some people have known say they didn't mic it very well. I just think it's the venue itself.
Yeah, it's the shape of it's the shape of the venue. The reason why all these stadiums slope down is because it's the way sound travels. You know, if you have people stacked all over different areas, you're not going to get the volume bouncing going as well. It's just basic physics.
All right, Joe. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, smart ass me today.
Bringing out the big guns, bringing out the physics. Jeez.
Coming from the empty space. So God knows what's bouncing around in here. So
exactly, yeah. So that's probably where the volume's coming from.
Joe knows his stuff.
So I mean, you know, I honestly believe that James Storm needs to be inducted into Hall of Fame. Whether it's him as an individual, whether it's America's Most Wanted, that's what I think is going to happen personally. I think that would be absolutely awesome. And then who knows, at a later date, maybe James, once he's retired, can be entered into the Hall of Fame as an individual as well. But yeah, no, I think it's amazing. And I love the fact that last night, James Storm was clearly dedicating that match to his longtime friend Bob Ryder. I thought that was amazing as well, and he made
that made the match feel so much more meaningful.
Yeah, he made it very, very clear in the promo and at the end when he spoke to the camera. You know, I thought, you know, that was superb, and of course it was also alluded to with the commentary team as well. They were all basically, you know, saying thank you to Bob. I mean, obviously, you know, we all know he passed away recently. But I think it was a fitting tribute from James Storm to his friend Bob Ryder, and that was, you know, all testament to Impact for allowing that to happen as well. Absolutely fantastic. Now, guys, that is pretty much it for this week. You know, we've quite a lot of talking points this week. If there's anything in there that you don't agree with us or you've got your own opinions on, don't forget to leave us some comments below. I really, really would love to give a shout out to one of our listeners next week with a question of some sort for us to answer. That would be great. So make sure, you know, if you want to do that, leave that below as well. Don't forget to don't forget to subscribe to the Total Nonstop Impact channel, wherever you're listening, whether it be on YouTube, you know, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio. Anyway, the list is endless. Wherever you listen, we are there. So make sure that you subscribe to us to not miss any of the great content that we put out on a weekly basis. But other than that, boys, where can we find you, Steve, on the socials?
You can find me only on Twitter, where I put everything Impact Wrestling related at SimplySteve311.
And what about you, Joe?
You can step into the void at JOK Empty Space on Twitter, or you can jump onto Facebook, look for Empty Space, look for the void, or perhaps you may fancy a hashtag Daily Giggle. If not, sorry about your damn luck.
Nice one. That landed really well. Well, that was good. I like it. If you're interested in finding out more about myself, Bison, I am at Lord Bison 45 on the Twitter box only. That's where I do all of my wrestling talk. I absolutely love it. You can find me as Jason Hawk on Facebook if you really, really want to. I do pop up on quite a few of the different wrestling Facebook groups talking about wrestling. I absolutely love Impact Wrestling. So if you love Impact Wrestling, I'm a good person to have on your Twitter. So if you want to give me a like, then please do. As I said, we are exclusively available. TNI UK are exclusively available on the Total Nonstop Impact Network. With that said, that has been this week's episode of Impacted. Take care, guys.
Ciao.
So yeah, take care.